The NASDAQ closing at a new all-time high, and 5 of the Magnificent 7 stocks hitting record intraday highs. And our next guest says even with this recent rally in the Mag 7, there is more room to run for some of these names. Joining us now is Dave Mazza, Roundhill Investments CEO, which runs the Magnificent 7 ETF, MAGS. Dave, always good to see you on set.
Thanks for having me.
So let's first of all just talk about the moves we are seeing today with these big tech names. Why are we seeing these moves, Dave? Why are they working this? I mean, should I chalk this up mostly to money managers chasing performance here into year end? Is that what's happening?
I think that's certainly playing a part of it, right? Is that people don't want to be on the wrong side of what has been for 2 years an incredibly impressive trade. And especially this year, many people were expecting there to be that broadening out. We've heard a lot about these small cap rallies and they all fizzled out. But people come back to the Magnificent 7 because they, in this market, have been providing both offense and, interestingly enough, I think most recently, some defense here, right? So we saw huge gains post the election, definitely broad-based, and now people are reassessing and saying, hey, what actually companies are going to be able to kind of power through whatever we see out of the economy and whatever we see out of the Trump administration?
Well, and speaking of the Trump administration, one of the other interesting things that we've noticed is that the Magnificent 7 rally didn't really start with the election. There was sort of a lag, and then it took off. So it's sort of curious what everything you're saying might be true. It's still hard to sort of find what the catalyst was for this latest move upwards.
Well, so I think this most recent move is certainly really robust, and it has pulled forward some of the returns that we were expecting to see in 2025 into 2024. And by that I mean, we still had a positive view on the Mag 7, on the markets in general, but a lot has come in a short period of time, to your point. But some of it I think comes back to the fact that these companies as a whole, right, not all of them, not at all times, really have impressive operating leverage, so they're able to grow their profits really, really fast. And when there's questions about what exactly is going to happen on the tariff side, is inflation going to continue to cooperate? It certainly did again today, but there's no guarantee that's going to continue to be the case. What kind of companies are going to be able to power through that? We know that industrials and banks, I think, are going to benefit under the Trump administration, but it's not as if in either or situation where we can't see these market generals continue to lead the way higher.
And Dave, as a group, what does earnings growth look like for these big tech names next year, 2025?
Well, it's interesting. So earnings growth actually is better than the rest of the 493 for the first quarter, for the second quarter. It isn't really out until the back half of 2025 where we see more of a moderation, where actually you see the Mag 7 earnings growth on a quarter-over-quarter basis begin to decline and the rest of the market pick up. Because I think there still is a general sentiment that the economy is okay, and we have so much positive investor sentiment now, and that to me is really what's pushing the market higher, right? If we look at Tesla, for example, you're talking about it kind of heading into this segment, the gains are huge, right? And this is a stock that people kind of wrote off for dead for some time because of all the issues with Elon Musk and others. And again, investors have come back to it, and really, I think a lot of that, though, happens to be from the sentiment side, because it's not like we've necessarily seen much different news when it comes to deliveries and orders and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm curious about the other risks to the Mag 7 too going into next year. Besides the sort of relative growth profile, there's certainly regulatory overhang still for some of these names, Alphabet being one of them. We just talked to an analyst a little while ago who said he doesn't think that Google's going to be forced to sell off Chrome, for example. But even so, there's some uncertainties around some of them.
Yeah, no, well, Alphabet is a great example, right? So that's a stock that's sort of kind of been a laggard in the Magnificent 7 group, and maybe you could say actually been a laggard sort of across a broader market, depending upon your perspective. But it's actually been building a nice base. It's found support at its 200-day moving average consistently. And yeah, I think the regulatory overhangs on that stock aren't going away tomorrow. There's still questions about what the new FTC commissioner is going to do when it comes to big tech. It seems clear based off of Trump's post on his social media network that that's an impetus for this chair, continue to be focused on free speech and things like that. But I don't think the worst case scenarios for Alphabet will come to fruition. So I would agree with that.
Are there certain names, Dave, that you find more compelling, interesting here than others?
An interesting name that in the Magnificent 7 group that has been a bit underappreciated, that has been building a very long base, is actually Amazon. Now, Amazon is a company that has, of course, we focus on it at the retailer side, but it's really an AWS story. And as companies kind of continue to support growth in cloud, it supports that, even though many people are kind of look to move into that space. Plus, they're a hyperscaler when it comes to AI. So I think that's a name that's been a bit underappreciated because Apple kind of caught its AI bid with the integration of Apple Intelligence and Siri, and now we have news that they're integrating ChatGPT into that. But Amazon actually has a lot of firepower on the AI side that's not as appreciated to the same extent.
Well, now it's getting appreciated because the stock closed at a record today.
Yes.
So I guess people are catching on. Thanks a lot, Dave. Good to see you.